Some of the images in this video examining war crimes may be disturbing. For this reason, we apologize in advance. However, the tragedies that occur must be publicized. It is also a crime to stand by while innocent people die. A war crime is a crime for which a person or persons, military or civilian, can be punished under international criminal law for violating the laws of war. These include, in particular, actions such as the killing, ill treatment, or forced labor of civilians, the killing or ill treatment of prisoners of war, the killing of hostages, the plunder of public and private property, and the unnecessary burning and destruction of cities. Within the boundaries of the law of war, violation of established security, violation of accepted procedures and rules during conflict, such as attacking those who raise the flag of truce or using the flag of truce in a misleading manner to attack, are considered war crimes. Mistreating prisoners of war and civilians is also among the behaviors that constitute war crimes. Although war crimes are part of mass murder and genocide, such crimes generally fall within the scope of crimes against humanity under international humanitarian law. War crimes have an important place in the field of international humanitarian law, and international courts such as the Nuremberg International Military Tribunal have been organized in this field. The International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia and the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda, established by the UN Security Council, are examples from recent history. The International Criminal Court was established in The Hague to hear cases of war crimes committed after July 1, 2002. Some countries, notably the United States, China, and Israel, have been critical of the court, refusing to participate and not allowing the court to have jurisdiction over their citizens. War crimes have been punishable by national courts since the Middle Ages. The first comprehensive collection of war crimes into law was the Lieber Rules, issued by President Lincoln in 1863 during the American Civil War. Since then, many international humanitarian law conventions have been prepared, including the Hague Convention 4 of 1907 and its regulations, the Geneva Conventions of 1949 and their protocols of 1977. Article 8 of the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court gives the International Criminal Court jurisdiction over the majority of war crimes committed during international armed conflict as defined in these agreements and customary international law. It also confirms the latest developments in international law by giving the authority to prosecute war crimes committed in non-international armed conflicts, which are the most common conflicts of today, such as civil wars, to the International Criminal Court. Unlike crimes against humanity, a war crime can be a single, separate, dispersed or random act. There are no conditions for these actions to be widespread and systematic. Some of the violations defined in the Hague Regulations, Protocol I of the Geneva Conventions and customary international law, which fall within the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court, are as follows. Attacks that are known to cause damage to civilian targets or injury to civilians or incidental loss of life in a way that is excessive in proportion to the concrete and direct military advantage anticipated to provide, as well as direct civilian populations, civilian belongings, humanitarian aid, or peacekeeping missions. Prohibited attacks against civilians, including attacks against buildings, equipment, medical facilities, means of transport and persons bearing the Red Cross and Red Crescent emblems. Attacks on buildings, historical monuments, and hospitals used for religious, educational, artistic, scientific or charitable purposes that are not military targets. Killing or injuring surrendered soldiers. Physically mutilating by amputation. Carrying out medical or scientific experiments that may cause death or seriously endanger the health of a person, are not medically justified and are not carried out in the person's best interests. Attack on a person's dignity, in particular degrading treatment, harming vulnerable people, such as rape and other forms of sexual violence, and using people as shields. Misusing the flag of truce, the UN, or enemy insignia, or the Red Cross and Red Crescent emblems. To declare that he will not be taken prisoner. Plunder, destroy or capture enemy property unless justified by military necessity. Using prohibited weapons such as poison or poisoned weapons, certain gases, disintegrating bullets, and other weapons that would be added to the statute through an amendment. Deliberately starving civilians as a method of warfare. Certain prohibited methods of warfare, such as recruiting children under the age of 15 into national armed forces or actively involving them in armed conflicts. Direct or indirect transfer of their civilian population by the occupiers to the territories they occupy, or the deportation or transfer of all or part of the population of the occupied territories. Certain prohibited actions in occupied territory or against enemy nationals, including removing or suspending the legal rights of enemy nationals or compelling them to participate in military operations against their own country. Some of the former heads of state and government who have been tried for war crimes so far: Karl Dönitz, Germany; Hideki Tojo, Japan; Charles Taylor, Liberia; Slobodan Milosevic, Yugoslavia; Saddam Hussein, Iraq. We hope that no criminal goes unpunished. For more, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications, like the video and recommend it to your friends, and share your ideas and suggestions in the comments. Hoping for a more just world. Goodbye.